Welcome to Washington Hospital Today, dedicated to informing residents about healthcare topics and issues. Through programs featuring community forums and free health and wellness classes, our goal is to empower community members with the information needed to make informed health decisions. Washington Hospital has been providing health care to the residents of the Washington Township Healthcare District for the past 60 years. Hello, welcome to today's presentation, Heart Healthy Cooking Made Easy, presented by Grace Ching and Anna Corona, registered dietitians with Washington Hospital Healthcare System. Our first presenter is Grace Ching. Grace is a registered dietitian with Washington Hospital. Her favorite part about being a dietitian is helping her patients realize that all foods fit into a healthy diet. In her free time, she enjoys cooking, playing with her dog, and streaming her favorite TV shows. Our second presenter will be Anna Corona. Anna has lived in the Bay Area her whole life. She is also a registered dietitian with Washington Hospital. She loves watching scary movies, exercising, and spending time with her family. Please welcome Grace Ching and Anna Corona.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining. My name is Grace. Again, I'm one of the dietitians here at Washington Hospital, and today we're here to talk to you about something that we commonly talk about with all of our patients who are in the hospital, which is heart healthy eating. And we will have some recipes to share with you to kind of show how we can make cooking heart healthy recipes extremely easy. So we can first discuss why this is such an important topic, and heart disease is actually the leading cause of death in the United States, with about one person dying every 33 seconds in the US from heart disease. Having certain conditions such as high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes actually increases the risk of having heart disease. It is expected that by 2060, the rates of heart disease will increase by over 30% in almost all categories, especially within racial and ethnic minorities. And the Cleveland Clinic has found that poor diet quality is strongly associated with an elevated risk of having some kind of heart disease, and actually that 90% of heart disease is preventable by just having a healthy diet, increasing exercise to be regular, and also by not smoking. And a question that I often get asked by many people in the hospital is that, oh, Grace, isn't it so difficult and also time consuming to prepare healthy meals that also taste good? And something that I highly suggest is to, take your favorite recipe and try to make a little twist to it or make slight adjustments here and there so that it can be more heart healthy. And we'll be going over a copycat fast food Southwest salad as kind of an example of what I have previously recommended. So these are the ingredients that we are going to be using for this recipe, and it makes about 4 servings. And so you'll see that we have all of our spices, our sour cream, and all of our veggies as well. And before we get into how to prepare this recipe, we will talk a little bit about how each of the ingredients relate to heart health. So firstly, we have our low-fat dairy, which is seen in the low-fat sour cream that we will be using. And so most and all animal products are going to contain something called saturated fat. And consuming too much of saturated fat can increase the LDL cholesterol levels in our blood. And LDL cholesterol is what we know as the bad cholesterol, which can increase the risk of heart disease. So the recommendations are to limit saturated fat to about 18 grams daily, but to lower that to actually 9 to 10 grams if you are somebody who already has heart disease. And another good thing about low-fat dairy is that it's lower in calories, so it can also help to promote a healthy weight, and it's actually higher in protein and calcium compared to full-fat dairy products. And salt is another ingredient that is a big topic when it comes to talking about heart health, and eating large amounts of salt can cause higher blood pressure, which will increase the risk of heart attack, stroke, and heart failure. So what we want to do is limit salt intake to about no more than 2,000 to 2,300 milligrams daily. And when you kind of think about it in visual terms, that is equal to about 1 teaspoon a day. So usually we want to choose foods that are less than about 140 milligrams of sodium per serving. And what this means is that we can actually liberally use ingredients such as garlic powder, onion powder, or any type of seasoning that does not contain any added salt. We'll move on now to talk about fiber, and there are two different kinds of fiber that we will be discussing. First is soluble fiber, and this is found in the black beans in the salad that we're making. So soluble fiber can work to lower LDL cholesterol. Again, LDL cholesterol is considered the bad cholesterol. And soluble fiber does this by binding to the cholesterol in the small intestine so that it does not enter your bloodstream. It also helps to improve blood sugar levels by slowing down the absorption of sugar. And we also have insoluble fiber, which is found in the corn in our recipe. And it's also found in other foods such as whole grains, nuts, and seeds. It can help to decrease constipation by adding some bulk to our stool, and it can actually help us feel full for a longer period of time by slowing down our digestion. So this will be the directions on how to prepare the salad, and later on we will have a video that kind of demonstrates all of this for you guys. This is the nutrition facts for the salad per serving. So again, it makes 4 servings for the whole recipe. And you can see that there's the information for the carbohydrates, protein, fat, fiber, and sugar. So this is also a recipe that is friendly for those who have diabetes. And I thought it would also be good to include some information on how to, speed up the process of making this salad for those of you who are on a time crunch. So firstly, you can always get your veggies pre-chopped. So for example, the lettuce that is included, you can always buy it pre-chopped. Second, you can get canned chicken breast so that you avoid having to cook it in the kitchen. The only thing to be mindful of is that canned products can be higher in sodium or salt. So I did include a picture of this specific kind of chicken breast that is low in salt. And lastly, you can always make the dressing ahead of time and just keep it in the fridge for up to 3 days. So some key takeaways and tips would be that eating healthy can always be done by incorporating your guys' favorite foods in moderation, and always modify your favorite recipes to try to limit the saturated and trans fats while decreasing your salt intake and increasing the fiber. Google can be your best friend. There are a wide variety of heart-healthy recipes online. You just have to go and look them up. And one of the most important things that I would stress is that these habits are not going to be formed overnight, so it is going to be important to be patient with yourself. And next up, let's go to the kitchen so that Alfredo can demonstrate how to make this salad for us.
Hi, my name is Alfredo Macias. I'm the chef and manager for the food service department at Washington Hospital. And today we're going to show you how to make a simple Southwestern salad. And we're going to do it with chicken. And there's also a vegetarian option if you like, if you don't eat chicken. So our ingredients are low-fat sour cream, salsa, lime juice, cumin, garlic, onion, salt, pepper, and we're going to garnish with the slivered red onions, tomatoes, corn, black beans, and some white jack cheese. Again, we're going to start mixing with our ingredients now. First, we're going to start with our dressing. So we're going to get all of these ingredients, our sour cream. I'm going to put it into a bowl. Salsa. Right in there. Lime juice, cumin, garlic powder, onion, salt, and pepper. Once we get all this ingredients together. We're just gonna whisk a little bit, combine them. This is what we're gonna dress our salad with. Make sure there's a nice even mix here. Then we're gonna go ahead and pour that right into our chopped romaine lettuce. And we're going to get a spoon. And we are just going to fold this in. You can add more salsa if you like. You can add any other dressing if you like, maybe olive oil, anything else that you might want to dress this salad with. It's all up to you. So now we are going to dress up our salad. So we're going to use some of the cherry tomatoes, a little bit of the corn, black beans, a little bit of onion. I'm not using all of it because in a minute I'm going to show you how when we go to the plate, you can use the rest of the ingredients to give it the final look. So now that we got all of our ingredients, now we're going to move into the chicken. So on the chicken, we're going to use some nice plain chicken breast. We can always just season salt and pepper. And we're going to do it actually over the high heat on our stove. So to sear our chicken, we're going to use some nice olive oil and put it into a pan. Make sure it's really nice and hot. And the intent to do here is that we're going to sear that chicken. We're going to sear all the juices inside of the chicken so it doesn't get dry. So once the pan is hot, then you can just sear the chicken. What you do is just set it down and just leave it alone. Just don't move it and let it cook. We're going to do this for about maybe 2 minutes on either side. And once it's done, then we're going to add a little bit of liquid. And then the purpose of the liquid is to make sure that you don't lose the moisture in the chicken. So once you have a nice color on one side, then you can turn it over. Do the same thing, just for a couple of minutes. And then being very careful, you're gonna add a little bit of water to it, or it can be broth, or it can be water. Just add a little bit to it, like I said, to keep it moist. Now, when you add this liquid to it, you're probably gonna flare it up. You're gonna see a flare coming up, so you gotta be very careful with that. With your flame very low, then you can just keep it in there for a couple of minutes. Make sure you always use the thermometer, and it has to reach 165 degrees for at least 15 seconds. That way you know it's cooked thoroughly, and then it's safe to eat. So this is the end product. So what we're going to do with this, you can either chop it or slice it. Just be careful when you're using a knife. Always make sure you cut always away from you so you can slice it this way. Or you can dice it if you prefer to have dice, then just cut right in here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to plate our salad. So we take our plate. We're going to mount this wonderful, refreshing salad. Then we're going to add, the reason we reserve some of this is because now you can dress it up with this, give it a little bit nicer, brighter colors around. So some of our chicken on top. And then we add some of our nice jack cheese. And you can dress it up as well. Let's put a bit of lemon wedge, or you can have a little bit of nice fresh parsley. And there you have it.
Thank you, Alfredo. That looks delicious. Welcome back. My name is Ana Corona. Today I'll be talking about my recipe is spiced grilled chicken with cauliflower tabbouleh. Okay, so here we have the ingredients that we're going to be using for my recipe. We have olive oil, which is considered a good fat. We're using skinless chicken breast, and we have a variety of vegetables. When I go visit my patients working at Washington Hospital, I see patients with a variety of health issues. Some of these patients have heart problems, and we give diet education. My education usually consists of doing following the plate method, which includes 50% of fruits and vegetables with an emphasis on vegetables. Non-starchy vegetables are preferred. A quarter of your plate would be a quarter protein, lean protein, which can include a meat, tofu, nuts, dairy. Now, when choosing dairy, we recommend that you choose either non-fat or low-fat. And then a quarter would be a starchy vegetable, a grain. Also, when choosing, when choosing this this recipe that I'm going to demonstrate, or Alfredo's going to demonstrate for you shortly, it consists of fiber, which comes from vegetables. So your plate is going to look like this. The plate method states that you have about 50% fruits and vegetables. As you can see, it's mostly vegetables, which is going to provide the fiber. The fiber in this one is mostly insoluble fiber, which speeds up digestion and adds bulk. Now, in adding that bulk, it also helps to trap some of the lower cholesterol, trap the cholesterol, which lowers it. And this may prevent diabetes by helping control blood glucose as well. Our chicken is considered a lean protein. It has less saturated fat. Higher saturated fat intake can increase LDL, which, as Grace mentioned, is the bad cholesterol. According to the American Heart Association, they recommend 5 to 6% of your calories comes from saturated fat. Olive oil is considered a better choice. It's a good source of antioxidants, and it helps to reduce inflammation, reducing oxidation of the bad cholesterol. So what this means is when the LDL or bad cholesterol is oxidated, it starts to create a blockage in the arteries. That's when plaque buildup starts. Now, when eating healthier fats, that's the good cholesterol, and that can come and actually remove some of that buildup and clear up your blood vessels, which will improve your blood vessel health. It can also prevent blood clots and lower blood pressure. So this is our recipe. Serving size is 3 ounces of chicken, and you get 1.25 cups of the tabbouleh. So that's a lot of vegetables, lots of fiber. All that fiber, all that vegetable is low in calories. So this is actually a low calorie dish. It's only 341 calories. The fat is 21 grams, but only about 6 grams of that is saturated fat. So again, we want to reduce the saturated and trans fat and try to focus on the good fats. This is excellent for carb controlled diet for people with diabetes. It's only 9 grams per serving, so that's pretty low. And then your protein is 28 grams, and that's also pretty good for your protein intake. Here is our directions. That's not our directions. This is our directions. It's 5 easy steps. It takes about 35 minutes to prepare. So if you're in a rush, you don't have a lot of time, this is perfect, 5 steps. It serves 4 again. And right now we're gonna go to Alfredo, and he's gonna demonstrate the cooking for this.
Hi, this is Alfredo again. Now we're going to work on our second recipe. Today we're going to make our grilled chicken with cauliflower rice tabbouleh. For that, we're actually going to marinate the chicken, and we're going to need some chicken breast here. And we're going to use some of the ingredients for that recipe, which is, I'm going to take a little bit of the cumin, marjoram, a little bit of salt, a little bit of allspice, a little bit of cayenne pepper to give a little bit of kick to it. And we're going to mix this with a little bit of olive oil. Just enough to bind these ingredients here. And so what we are doing with this, we're just going to pour the chicken, this right over here, like so. We'll let this marinate for a little bit. What we're going to do is now we're going to take it, put it in here. We're going to take our chicken and we're going to grill it just the same as we did the other chicken. We're going to, in a hot pan with a little bit of oil, sear both sides, and then add a little bit of liquid to preserve the moisture. We're going to put this away. And now we're going to do our mixture for our salad. So we also have some parsley, cherry tomatoes, diced cucumber, and some scallions. Now, this recipe actually calls for rice cauliflower. You can buy this at the store, and you can just blanch it real quick for a couple of minutes in hot water. It's really wonderful. Another variation to this salad is, if you would like to not use the chicken and maybe use some grain, you can use bulgur wheat. Just also put it in a pan, boil it for like 5 minutes, and it's done. So make sure it doesn't get sticky. It's all nice and crumbly. So you can use this versus the chicken to make the vegetarian version for this salad. And now what we're going to do is actually we're going to use the same bowl where we have our cauliflower, and we're going to mix all of the rest of the ingredients here, like so. And just as we did with the other salad, we're going to mix it real well. We're going to add our juice. And then we're going to add some olive oil. We mix this really good. And then we're just going to put it right into our cauliflower rice. Again, just as we did on the previous recipe, we're just going to mix it all really nice, bind it well. And we're going to use all our garnish, our diced cucumber, or cherry tomatoes, parsley, and our scallions here. We mix it, and then make sure the flavors combine really well. Just fold it in. All right. Now, we're just going to serve that. Make sure this is really nice, healthy portions. We're going to do that, not as we did with the other recipe as well. Then we get all the rest of our ingredients and just garnish them with them. Make the plate really beautiful. This is a very nice salad for the summer, really refreshing. And with the fresh ingredients, it makes it really, really pop. And now, as I mentioned, you can either mix that with the bulgur or you can add some of the chicken to it. So again, when you're cutting a chicken, always make sure you're cutting against you so you don't cut yourself, and just slide the knife right through it. Just make sure to make nice slices. And for this, we're going to do a little bit different. We're just going to put it right on top, like so. And you can add a little bit of touch if you wanted, just like an edible flower. Just garnish it and enjoy.
Thank you, Alfredo. We'll now take questions.
Great, thank you guys. We do have some questions. The first question is, in the summer, I can find many of my favorite fresh fruits and vegetables. Are canned fruits and vegetables in the off-season okay?
Okay, yes, you can look for frozen or canned vegetables. I recommend that you look at the nutrition label. Make sure that there's not too many ingredients in there. It should be, you want to look for sodium intake, so make sure that the sodium is not high or there's no sodium added preferred. But for our patients, we generally try to tell them that if you're working on a budget, it's better to choose the fruits and vegetables that are in season.
Okay, and then the next question we have is, what source of protein do you recommend for vegan and vegetarian diets?
Great question. So I'll talk a little bit about my recipe, which was the copycat fast food Southwest salad. So that one uses chicken as the primary protein source, but for those who are vegan or vegetarian, you can eliminate the chicken and just maybe add a little bit more of the black beans. Beans and lentils are a great plant-based source of protein, or you can do something like a tofu, and that is applicable, to any recipe that you would find online.
The next question we have is, I hear a lot about staying away from processed foods. What exactly are processed foods?
Great question as well. A processed food means that it's a food that is taken from its natural state and it's changed into something else. So it could be slightly modified, it could be frozen berries, or it could be something drastic like, say, a granola bar or a bag of chips that's highly processed. It's got chemicals, it has additives, it has sugar, salt. So we recommend that you try to avoid highly processed foods. Look at the nutrition label, pay attention to serving size, sodium, maybe carb intake, and what kind of fats it is. Try to stay away from trans fats, and try to look for things that are more on the healthier side, less ingredients, less preservatives.
Okay, thank you. The last question we have for today are, what are some basic things to remember when preparing heart-healthy foods?
So something that I really recommend to a lot of my patients is to take it slow. So I did touch a little bit about the importance of decreasing salt intake. And I always remind my patients that, if you are somebody who is already used to eating higher amounts of salt, then, making such a drastic change might not necessarily be realistic. And so it might just be a good idea to slowly cut that down, and give your body time to adjust and get used to it. But again, emphasizing that this is going to take some time. And kind of similarly, if you wanted to increase your fiber intake or make the switch to some healthy fats, that again is going to take some time to get used to. And so little modifications here and there are probably going to make the biggest impact when we are looking at it over a long period of time and forming that habit.
Okay, thank you. And thank you to both of you, Grace and Anna, for this insightful presentation. We would also like to thank our talented chef, Alfredo Macias, Washington Hospital's food service manager, for showing us how to prepare heart-healthy foods. This concludes our program, and thank you, viewers, for tuning in. The entire broadcast of today's presentation will be available on our Facebook page and YouTube.